Hey there, it's Big Tony over here at NatG, coming at you with a little informative session for you guys. We've got a big rebalance coming. We just got tipped off over on Reddit by an official Reddit, coordinator. This is a guy who's, from Pixonic, and he's putting it out there for us. So let's go ahead and take a look here. We're seeing some big changes coming, and it's going to affect your hangars. So let's go ahead and take a look at the ones that really are important here. Let's start with the ducks. Ducks is taking their built-in drones are pretty beastie, but they're taking a 50% damage reduction, but an increase in their accuracy. So it's still going to be a nerf, but it's going to be, it's not going to be the 50%. You see, oh my gosh, it's horrible. It's going to come back down to about a 35% nerf there in damage, and then reduction in speed using the mastermind skill. That is something that is going to play out, as far as being a quick assault. You hit that mastermind button and it just scampered away. You're looking at a big change there. And there is a tag that goes with that. Let's go ahead and scroll down to pilots real quick, because there is a big change in the pilot for that particular bot, and that is going to cause something very interesting. So let's go ahead and get down to, just got to scroll up, pilots. There we go. The WILLOW for the ducks. Stealth from the Puppet Master ability will only last 5 seconds now. So the shield and the stealth is, it's not going to be very long. So that's a big change right there. So that is going to exponentially increase that nerf to the ducks. So the ducks isn't going to be over, but the ducks, as being the monster on the battlefield, is going to be kicked down a bit. So it's going to be much more dealable. So let's go ahead and back up here. Let's continue on with the bots here. We're going to look at the Condor. Condor is one of the big four. Ducks, Raptor, Condor, Mauler. The big four. Those are the hard meta bots right now. The Condor is taking it's taking a nerf here, guys. And then, yeah, you guys, it's going to suffer a bit. So we're going to look at its celestial voice duration. Will last a little bit longer. It'll last a little longer as far as it goes. Its damage against Titans is going up, so it's going to become more like a hawk. But it's reduced the amount of both green and gray durability repaired by one losing. So you used to get, when one of your shields blown off in flight, you get a 60% rebump on your gray damage and your regular damage that you could absorb, your hit points and your gray hit points. That's going down from 60 to 25%. That's huge. That's going to really affect its livability on the battlefield. Its built-in weapon is being reduced by 40%. That's why they're bumping up the Titan damage. It's going to kind of keep it. It's going to be a little bit of a nerf, but it's going to still maintain its ability to damage Titans. But it's going to really affect how it affects bots. Reduced base movement speed from you're in flight from 50 to 35 kilometers per hour, reducing its durability by 20%. This thing's getting Fafnered. Not quite as severe as the Fafner, but it's definitely getting that same treat. They're slowing it down, and they're making it more vulnerable in the air, so it's not going to be as devastating as it was before. Baglior, a little bit of a bump right there. We're going to talk about the Raptor. The Raptor, you got increased Comet Splash duration. So, you hit the ground, that suppression, that EMP effect lasts for 7 seconds now. That's good. Your bot's getting a 15% bump in durability, so it's going to be tankier as far as hit points go. But the amount of damage blocked by your reflector, you're in flight, when you were jumping and then on the ground for so many seconds, you're getting like over half of the damage just obliterated from the reflector, and 30% of that total damage being thrown back at your target. That's taking a 50% nerf on both ends here, guys. You're looking at 30% block damage, so this thing's going to be taking more damage in flight and on the ground. Because right now the Raptor is pretty beastie, it's pretty tough. It is the premier brawler in Comet Splash mode. And of course, you were hitting on it and it just blew you to pieces because of all that damage being reflected back. It's now going to be way, way less. And that is going to be a huge adjustment right there. And then it says it's reducing the jump range and height. Yeah, this is going to be more like the Mercury. Probably it's going to be just bump That's what it's going to be. They're mercurying this. We're going to take a look at it on the test server. I re-downloaded the test server, and we'll take a look at it. But definitely, that's a big adjustment. The Raptor is definitely getting hammered. Pathfinder is taking a bit of a nerf and a bit of a bump. So I think it's kind of a wash. What you got here is your track cooldown goes from 12 seconds to 10 seconds. So you're going to get to use your track ability more, which is part of its strength. It's reduced ability. It's reduced durability by 25%, making it less tanky. It is supposed to be a support bot, and they're reducing the speed just a small amount, 3 kilometers per hour. It's a slight nerf, in my opinion. It definitely is not going to change if this bot is going to be, a menace on the battlefield. So let's go ahead and keep scrolling on here, but definitely the Pathfinder is still very usable. There's a lot of other things here. There's a lot of changes, but I'm not really getting into those. I'm looking at the big ones. And let's go ahead and look at the Titans. We're looking at the Mauler. Now, the Mauler it's about time because the Mauler is a menace on the battlefield. So you're looking at increased durability. You think, oh my gosh, that's terrible. It doesn't need it. Increased speed. It shouldn't get any faster. But it's taking a reduction in defense points. 50 at the scale where it's at, 250 down to 200. That's an assist. That definitely helps as far as, keeping this thing, a little more damageable. Now, here's where it starts getting interesting. Reduced duration of the hook effect, which is when any damage is converted to DOT and then slathered over the bot. Going from 10 seconds to 6 seconds. That's significant. That means it's not going to be doing that for as long. It's not quite 50%, but about 60% of what it used to be, about 40% reduction. Reduced resistance to DOT damage. So that's slathering of DOT that goes onto it when it's in dark light mode, in hook mode. You're looking at from a 75 to a 55% reduction. So it's going to be taking more damage. This thing is going to be more killable on the battlefield. What it boils down to is it's going to be more killable. Now, is this a huge nerf? I'm going to have to wait and see how this pans out in live server. Test server is never really a good, accurate representation. But this here should make the Mauler more dealable on the battlefield. Because right now, the Mauler is completely undealable. Unless you're fighting with another Mauler or something with the heavy-duty weapons, the Anguishers. So definitely the big four are getting the hammer, and the hammer that they probably deserve. Okay, let's go ahead and there's some weapon stuff I want to take a look at here. Potential spam. Absolutely not. I will have to put a block over that so you don't see the number. Because who knows who that is. Okay, let's go ahead and scroll down here. I mean, I've been kind of looking over a lot of these. And a lot of the other ones are kind of subterfuge. They're little buffs, little nerfs. Nothing that's going to make huge impact. At least nothing that I've really seen overtly. So, but that's something we'll probably review at another date and time. Let's go ahead and take a look here. The Smite and Discipline. These are new weapons. You're getting an increased damage. You think, oh my gosh, they don't need any more damage. They're increasing the splash radius on it. They're like, oh my gosh, why would we do that? But here's where the nerfs come in, guys. We're talking reduced blast charge accumulation, 35 per hit from 44. So it's not building up and boom, blowing up. And that is huge, along with the reload time. The reload time was actually what made that weapon very potent. A 4-second reload time made it quite usable. It made it it was a meta weapon. 5 seconds and under reload is meta, in my opinion. They're bumping it up to 8-second reload. This is more going to be like using the regulators. It's going to be boom, 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 boom. Then you got 1, 2, 3. I mean, you're talking 8 seconds of reload. That's going to make your window of vulnerability using these very open. So definitely that is a huge change. So definitely if you're using those weapons, you're going to have to adjust your tactics. Now here's I'm not in agreement with this particular one here. We're talking an Aramis, Porthos, and Athos nerf. Now let's go through it. It says at the beginning here, it says the amount of damage returned as repairs goes up 30 to 40%. So you get more repair back from it. Well, that's great. But they're reducing the damage by 30%. So you're getting a 30% damage and reduction and a 10% increase in damage back as far as repair goes. It's a net nerf. And I mean, that's just what it is. They're hamstringing those weapons, taking a third of the damage away. They've already shortened the duration that they're usable. They shortened the clip, increased the reload. Now they're shortening removing the damage potential of them These weapons are going to be hurting. Now, the rest of them I just kind of glazed through. They're just really blah. I mean, seriously. The only thing that I see that might be actually good is, well, we got the Cudgel, Hammer, Mace. These are free-to-play weapons. We're talking a reduction in projectile dispersion and increase in blast accumulation. It's going to be a little more accurate, a little more damaging. And those are free-to-play weapons, something we should think about. Let's go ahead and I'm just going to get over to the Titan weapons. These are the big ones here. The one that I wanted, the two I want to see actually are three. There's three weapon changes here that actually are pretty important. I'm thinking 1, 2, 3. Okay. The Anguisher and Runer increase damage over time. You think, oh my gosh, they don't need to have more damage over time. But they're doing an overall reduction in your damage by 40%. So that right there, it's not a wash, but you're taking a kind of a net, nerf right there. A slight nerf in as far as your damage over time goes. And of course, the reduction in damage itself is a big one. We're all talking almost a 50% damage reduction. And then you're talking an increase in the horizontal particle dispersion. So this thing's going to get really terrible at range. And it's going to be the same with the increased vertical particle dispersion. So it's going to spread out up, spread out to the side. It's going to become much less accurate. This is going to go from a 350 meter weapon down to a 150 meter weapon pretty darn quick doing this. Is DOT duration going from 10 seconds? This is more than a 50% reduction. DOT reduction going from 10 to 4 seconds. So these weapons are definitely taking a big hit. And let's go ahead and talk about the Vindicators. A lot of people love running these on the Bersagliere. They love to snipe with them, or I've seen a lot of them actually on the Aether up in the air. And we're talking an increased damage of 20%. It's like, oh no, those things are just deadly as it is. But their reload time is more than doubling, going from 6 to 15 seconds. That is huge. I mean, they're still going to be a good sniper weapon, but this is kind of like the Crisis Reaper, when that got that big, long duration nerf on their weaponry. This is kind of the same thing. So that's a big nerf to those weapons. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at the Inferno Pyro. This is an increased time before the weapon starts to cool down. So it gets hot, it's going to take longer, 2 seconds longer for it to start cooling down. So that already takes away a big chunk of that. Basically, that's an increase in his reload from 5 seconds to 7 seconds. Reduced damage by 10%. So flamethrowers are definitely taking a bite. They're getting hit pretty hard right there. The Columbus and Discordia have already been, nerfed. They've been changed to, there's no accelerated mode on them. I mean, you could kind of use them continuously. And they were okay. They're not great anymore, but they were okay. Well, now they're increasing the reload interval to 2 seconds. They're doubling it. Definitely taking you might even be better off to use some of the other weaponry in the game, some of the lesser weapons, but they're definitely knocking the Tumultus and Discordia down on the hierarchy of weapons in the game. Okay, Grom and Squall are getting a nice bump. Let's go ahead and take a look at the next big thing that's going to be happening. You got 2 drones. Actually, there's 3 drones that are going to be taking a pretty significant change. And the biggest one's going to be, let's talk about the Pascal. The Pascal is taking an increase the amount of grade durability repaired on Threshold Fix. 1% bump up. That's great. But here we go. This is going to be a big change right here. The on-kill assist bonus damage ability is replaced by a new mechanic. Pascal will provide 10% bonus to damages as long as the robot has heavy armor plates. Curry. The Pascal drone, which was kind of your general purpose brawling drone right now, is no longer going to be that. It's not going to give you that on-kill assist bonus to damage unless you're running a Curry. This is becoming a Curry-specific drone. That's what they're morphing it to. And they're reducing the amount of defense points from 100 to 50. This is definitely becoming a Curry-only drone, and it is... If you guys are using it, I hate to say it, you're going to have to start looking for your replacement. And I would be looking at the next 2 drones. You might want to not consider these as your replacements, but think long-term. Start looking at the new drone. There are going to be new drones coming out in 2025. It's just a matter of it happening. The Seeker. The quantum radar sensor is going from 350 meters down to 250 meters. So your Seeker is now not a mid-range as far as, your ability to see stealth. You are now, this is a brawler type up close. And that's what it says the only changes to it. I would expect more changes coming. I would expect probably a reduction in, its ability to prevent you from taking damage, or a reduction in time between its counter blindness and, counter suppression. But Seeker is definitely going to be hitting the next round of hits. Pascal was horribly overused. Everyone had it, and now that's taking the big hurt. It's taking the big hurt, and the Seeker is now getting a little bit of a nerf as well. Now there's a change to the Shy Drone, which is actually pretty significant. The increase of amount of defense points provided by on damage done, +2 per 150,000. That's definitely a nice. That's great. It's a bump up. It increases the bonus movement speed on low durability from 7 to 9 kilometers per hour. Just a minor adjustment. But now Last Stand will now activate at 80% durability instead of 35, which means it's going to be happening earlier. Last Stand is supposed to be your last salvation. You're down to your last few hit points. It's supposed to toughen you up and make you just hold that position right there and give you a chance to, do what you need to do. Now it's going to be happening much earlier, way up. It's like if you had 2 Last Stands on. It's going to be happening when you really don't need it. And then it's going to be disappearing. And now it's not going to be at the end where it should have been. So the Shy Drone is getting messed up. It's still going to be an okay drone, but if you're relying on that Last Stand to be truly a Last Stand and playing to that ability, that is now going to change radically. So definitely a big change there. And there's some other changes here as well. The Avalon Mothership is actually getting it's getting a bit of a kind of a nerf and buff. And the Avalon's still going to be okay. Beholder getting a damage bump, and then we had the big change to the Willow to the Dux pilot. Okay, there's a lot of other little changes that are going on in there, which are, in my opinion, are just camouflage for those big ones. But the thing to take away is your big 4, the Mauler, the Dux, the Condor, and the Raptor are getting the nerfs that they really needed, and they should have never been allowed to get as powerful as they are. This is where they should have been to start with. So we will definitely see how it goes forward. Might see some additional nerfs coming down the pipe on these as well. So definitely something that you need to be mindful of. All right, guys, that's plenty of info for now. Definitely your hangers, they're going to be a changing again, guys. And we do this once or twice a year, and this is not unexpected. Alrighty, guys. If you like what you're seeing and hearing, make sure to give this a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel, hit that bell for notifications. That way you know when I'm dropping it. Stay safe and healthy, guys. Watch out for each other. And I'll catch you on the battlefield.